Welcome to CEO Insights. I'm Marilyn de Guzman with InvestingNews.com. I'm speaking with Mike Steir, CEO of Saga Metals, a critical minerals exploration company with projects in Canada. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Marilyn.
So I guess let's start off with just an introduction to Saga. What are the three most important things you'd like investors to know about the company?
Most important things investors should know is that we're a diversified critical mineral company focused on our uranium project in Labrador. We also have a major partnership with Rio Tinto for our legacy lithium property in Quebec. And we just recently completed our IPO on September 23rd, and we're trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol Saga, SAGA.
Right. So talking about that IPO, what were the outcomes from that undertaking and what are your plans for the near term?
Yeah, so we were able to close the first tranche of the IPO, closed just under $1.8 million. And that's helping to secure the necessary funds to complete our double Murray uranium field program, which we actually just announced earlier today. And that will help us enter in and finalize the preparations for our drill program this winter on the uranium project. We are right now looking to close a second tranche of the IPO, which will help just further bolster our planned drill program on the three identified zones that you can see in our news release that we announced today.
So speaking about that, it's your double Mare uranium project. Could you give our audience an overview of that asset and what makes it a compelling project for the company?
Yeah, absolutely. Labrador in general is an overlooked jurisdiction. They've only had two rushes in their history, one being the Voisey's Bay rush, which I'm sure many people would be familiar with, as well as the uranium rush that actually occurred back in 2006. However, just due to unfortunate circumstances during that time, it had a brief stint and it hasn't really come back ever since. And so there's numerous projects in the region that have just been sitting there waiting to come online here now in the near future. And we've got Paladin Energy, one company that's trying to become a major player in the space just 30 kilometers north of us, as well as Atha Energy that's contiguous to them as well in the Central Mineral Belt. And so for us with the Double Murray Uranium Project, again, we have the benefit of having some of that historical work that was completed back in 2006, upwards of about $4 million. So we've had a massive leg up in terms of our understanding and our ability to pinpoint exactly where we want to spend time and spend money on our property, already having confirmed an 18-kilometer trend. And so, Mike Garrigan, our chief geological officer, and our geological team this year was able to go out and strategically go along this trend and have now identified three very important zones along the property, which we can now focus our efforts on in terms of a drill program this winter.
There's a lot of activity in the uranium space, like, in recent years, with prices also going, in record high levels, but with, the prices pulling back a bit in recent months. What are your thoughts on the outlook for the uranium supply demand dynamic? And talking about that dynamic, what are your thoughts on closing the gap between the growing demand and the shortening supply?
Yeah, I mean, ever since we picked up this project about a year ago, there's been a lot of recent developments in the uranium space. I mean, you've got billion-dollar companies now, such as Microsoft and Google, along with major banks across the globe, pouring billions of dollars of investments towards uranium and pledging support to triple global nuclear capacity by 2025, which is further endorsed by 22 countries across the world. So I think that this is just something that is inevitable at this point. You have 3 Mile Island that's coming back online, which was, unfortunately one of the largest disasters in North American history with respect to nuclear power. You have to take it into context that now, fast forward several decades, technology advancements have been staggering in terms of just our ability to actually harness and utilize this power. It's the cleanest power that we could absolutely use in this global green energy shift. And so in terms of supply and demand, you have Kazatomprom, who announced more recently that they've got a production shortfall, which obviously is opening up the gates to other players to come in and sort of try to bridge that gap. But inevitably, when you look at what's out there, just more mines need to come online. And so that kind of puts us at the forefront here in terms of what we're doing to obviously try to quickly develop our resource so that we could be one of those players that kind of helps supply and feed into that demand. As you have, as I mentioned earlier, multiple countries around the world that are now turning to nuclear power as a source to power the future, really.
And part of that green energy dynamic is, other critical minerals like lithium, which you have another significant asset around the lithium space, and a JV with Rio Tinto. Could you provide sort of just an overview of that joint venture with Rio Tinto and an update on that undertaking?
Yeah, absolutely. So we signed that in about June of this year. It's a two-stage option earn-in agreement with Rio Tinto for upwards of $44 million. They also have a cash payment to us for about $700,000, of which we front-ended. So they've already made their first payment to us. They've had two tours now, boots on the ground on our property, and conducted some geophysics in the area. And so for us, it's just a massive validation in terms of not only the quality of the project that we were able to stake and acquire about a year and a half ago, but also just validates management's ability to execute agreements with companies as large as Rio Tinto. And I think sort of points to the future of, we'll be doing that with our other projects as we move through the different development stages of exploration. As I mentioned, we've got Paladin Energy that's just north of us on the uranium front. So, with Rio Tinto guiding the way with our lithium, we're able to just focus on our uranium property and move that forward. As you saw or may have seen recently, they just announced today actually that they're acquiring Arcadium Lithium, which is essentially their biggest acquisition since 2007. It's one of the largest lithium acquisitions globally, and it actually jumps Rio Tinto up into the foray of one of the largest lithium producers on the planet. And so with them further bolstering their operations in James Bay, Quebec, and North and South America, I think it just puts a forefront on the fact that lithium's here to stay. You've got major companies, major countries around the world that are really pushing this green energy revolution, which is necessary for our future. And lithium's right there. And we've got a significant land package, not only with half of it being optioned to Rio Tinto, but we also have another 31,000 hectares that we own 100% outright that we can move through the different exploration stages as well. So we have lots of different options when it comes to lithium in James Bay, and we can choose to move that forward now heading into the future.
Well, thanks, Mike, for coming and talking to me about your updates from the company, and looking forward to having you back again for some updates from all the projects that you're undertaking.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And thanks, everyone, for watching. Join us again next time for another edition of CEO Insights. If you like this video, leave a comment below and hit the like button. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exclusive interviews and executive insights.